Well, hi, good evening, traders. Um, Today we are on the night of 19th of April 2022, 53 minutes past 8 p.m. It's a Tuesday evening, and it was one hell of a day for the Indian equity markets, especially the extent at which it sold off in the last 60, 80 odd minutes. We're looking at the Nifty near-month futures daily chart, and we see a cut of around 260 points, 1.5% down. Psychological 17K taken out on the downside, a close at 16,969. And so the extent of this correction, which was at first around 3 to 4%, has now extended towards 7.5% on a high-low basis for 8 trading sessions. And of course, very clearly, if we draw some kind of a Fibonacci retracement just to figure out, clearly 50% of this, the index now has cleared out 50% of the recent bounce back. We spoke very loudly about this bounce back. We were very encouraged with this bounce back because it led to a trend reversal, and it had all the aspects to it to sustain the trend reversal. But the follow-through sell-off that we are experiencing now is kind of disturbing. There's no doubt that the trend across the short-term and the intermediate time frame has turned down again, sadly. And as I was saying, that this will only lead to volatility coming back into the market, and we might see this later this week as well. If we take a look at the 75-minute time frame, this one, then we can clearly see that how sharp the correction in today's trade was. This one, all throughout the day, all that it did was try to hold on to some small bounce backs and gains, and in fact it was picking up pretty decent momentum towards the afternoon also. And all of a sudden we see a huge sell-off, a big range expansion, and it was across the board. It was not just any couple of sectors or just limited to few stocks. It was across the board. The stocks which gained significantly fell relatively lesser, like a Reliance Industries. But I remember in the morning, the small caps and mid caps were still doing better than the benchmark Nifty. But towards the end, it was the same for all. So what we will notice, if you take a look at Nifty daily chart, or the Bank Nifty daily chart, or any of the sectoral daily time frame charts, or even the top stocks, what we will notice very clearly is the existence of a big ranged bar in today's trade. By a big ranged or a wide ranged bar, I mean that the difference between high and low, the daily range, will definitely have expanded on the downside. So I feel that later, tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, we are about to face some decent amount of volatility. Intraday volatility, I feel, is definitely going to spike up. And so it will not be a prudent idea to chase trading opportunities. Yes, long trades would have got horribly stopped out. I myself had to pay the price in few of my open positions today. But at the end of the day, you feel good that, if you had stayed disciplined and placed your stop loss, and even if you've booked out at a small loss, and then you look back in the afternoon how it could have been worse, of course, it's a loss, but the loss does not feel that bad when you see that at least discipline saved you. So these kind of moves in the market will definitely whipsaw us. We cannot hide from this. But what next? I think the prudent thing, as I was saying, was just wait out to see that what was the extent what can be the extent of what we saw in the last hour. What I mean by this is when the markets want to bottom out, they flush out the weak hands, some kind of a trap, and it reverses. And they generally happen with small range bars and not a range bar like this. Generally not like this. So this kind of a fall makes me think, even rethink. Yesterday we were saying that the current correction has definitely made us understand one thing, that this uptrend is not that strong as we would have wanted it to. And with today's sell-off, the way it sold off in the last hour, it's definitely made that view much more concrete. So further weakness should not be discounted at all. 16,600 is where the 61.8 retracement lies, and further lower level. So that's for later, how far it can fall and where can it find support. But the way it fell and the way it has closed today, I'm going to give this market a couple of days time, yes, tomorrow's time, and maybe if it requires, just to see and understand what was the motive of this sell-off. As of now, it seems like it wants to correct furthermore. Does this mean that some kind of a negative event or something is lurking, in front of us? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? There are some structural negativities for equity as an asset class due to various macroeconomic reasons. I can discuss this later in some other video. But for tonight, I'm not going to discuss any particular stocks or stocks that I'm going to focus upon tomorrow. But I would suggest that take a back seat, lower down your gears, and just wait out for the markets to play its part. And yes, it seems like the bearishness, the negativity has kind of spiked up and gone a notch higher. So let's see. As of now, the global markets seems to be positive. US markets are bouncing back pretty well, over 1%. SGX Nifty is 0.5% up, 66 points, dealing very close to that psychological 17K mark. Crude had a sharp sell-off of 4.5%, now dealing with 102, and gold is also coming off. Now, are we going to see a very strong positive open from the Nifty tomorrow? Was this actually a flush out of the weak hands? That's exactly what I would like to see. This is exactly what is there back of my head, and I want to see this and observe how the prices play out, at least tomorrow's trade, and then place myself for fresh positions thereafter. Right? I hope you've been disciplined enough to save your losses to as small as possible. If you're new to the market, these kind of things happen. Get used to it. It's only going to help you in the long term. Till then, take care of yourselves, trade well, and trade wise.